All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at how lists and loops can work together to do some neat little tasks. Now, you saw in the actual lesson that this is basically one big challenge with the expectation that you might have to pop in here to watch some of the answers, especially maybe the first two, which is creating and filling the list and showing it to the debugger. So here we go. I've already got my project made, my roller object made, and I've got the create method here. So let's make our list inside of here. Now, if you don't have your cheat sheet for the lists open, obviously that makes this a lot easier. But I'm going to call my list ID roles, and I'll use my little ds list create, and that's really it. The list has been created, and the ID saved in the variable roles. Now the next part was to fill it up, and so let's add a key press, letter R for rolling. Now, the nice thing about lists and loops is that basically you can use the loops to fill lists, to go through lists, search lists, and all stuff like that. So when I hit the R key here, all I want to do is add 20 numbers to the list. So my choice of loop, I'm going to use the for loop. I'll make a little counter called K. K is less than or equal to 20. K equals K plus 1. What am I going to do? I'm going to basically find a random value. I'll call it num. So random range 1 to 6. And I'm going to stick this inside of the list. So ds list. Let's add this value in there. And the ID of the list was roles. And I want to add the value num. Now that'll add it to the end of the list. And this basically will just take place 20 times. And so I should have 20 values in the list. I've actually missed one line that was technically in the instructions, and that was to clear the list. And that command is ds list clear roles. And the reason I want to clear it is every time I hit roll, I want to start clear and then add 20 items. So I'm always going to have 20 items in the list. If you want your list to grow really, really big, you can always go back and take that line out later. Okay, but I want the draw commands to fit on the screen, so we're going to limit it to the 20. Now that's it. Now we won't see anything happen here, but it is working, hopefully. Now what I'll do is I'm going to do the show command, the S key. And once you have the S key done, you'll actually see this show up. So add event, key press, letter S, and now let's show this. So when I go to show it, the instructions there say to find the size of the list. This is important because then it tells you how big your loop should be. Now I know that you know that the list is 20, but it's nice if you just write this routine for any size list. That way if I don't limit my list to 20, I don't have to go back and change code. This routine's just going to work for any size list. So let's find out the size of the list. I'll call it size. And the script was ds list size and give it the name of the list. Now I know the size of the list. Now I'm going to use a for loop here, and I'm going to cycle through. Now here's the thing with showing the values in the list. The first value that I pull out of the list, let's just pretend my list was like this: 4, 5, 2, 3, 3, 6, 1. The very first value in the list, have to remember that's slot 0. The next one is in slot 1. The next one is in slot 2. As you go through the list, when you get to the end, the very last slot is going to be slot 19, right? Especially if my list is 20 big, the last slot is 19. So remember that you're grabbing from slot 0 to slot 19 when we do this. So keeping this in mind, I'm going to start my loop for showing the list, start at k equals 0, and I'm going to keep going while k is less than size. So if you think about what this means, k will go less than, and it will just pretend it's 20 here, k will be less than 20. So 19 less than 20 will be the last time this runs. This is good to do it this way because now, no matter what the size of the list, this routine is going to work. And we're going up by ones. and I basically want to pull the value out of the list. So let me maybe just make a variable there, value, ds list, and looking at your cheat sheet, you might remember it's find value, and find value, it wants the ID of the list, and it wants the position in the list. So let's give it the ID of the list, and I want to grab out a position K. This is really the beauty of loops with lists, is that as K cycles through values, you're pulling out the next slot every time, right? Just cycling through the list. Okay, very powerful idea. Barely takes any code. And now I want to show this value now that I got the value out of the list. And we said don't use show message. Let's use show debug message. If I just use show message, it's going to keep popping numbers up and I have to keep hitting the enter key. Show debug, I can use the debug window and just show it nice and easily. And that's basically it right there. Okay, so let me take that part out. And now we actually have something we can run. We can roll, fill it with 20, and now we can show and see the debug window. So let's give this a go right now. Now I'm just going to actually test something else here. I'm just going to run this normally. And I'm going to hit roll, show, and what do you know? It's not like the old Gamemaker. You can actually, no fancy, you can just use the normal run here, and there's your numbers, right? So nice. We have our 20 values that you can check over and look at. And if I just do this, I can actually drag that window. Whoops, let's stop for a sec. There we go. Now let's give this an actual test, and we'll see what happens here. So let's give the green arrow here. The program starts. I'll hit R to roll. That's just filled up 20, hopefully, and then hit S to show. Now, where did it show? It showed right in here. Let's just move this aside, and there it is. And you can see there that it's listed my numbers, and I have my 20 numbers looking good, right? So those are my 20 numbers there. Okay, so that's the debug window where it prints out. Now that I know that's working, let's get on to the next task, which was add the clear key, which should be easy. Let's just do a little key press, letter C, and you know this one's just a fast ds list clear roles, so I can clear the list if I want. And then the last part says show this list graphically actually on the screen. So this was in key press letter D. Here comes the big code here. This is going to be a little reminder on how you can use your loops again with some drawing commands. So basically what I want to do here is I want to pull the values out one at a time using a loop, and I want to draw them out. So let's just get that working. Then we just have to make sure we draw them at a different spot every time so the numbers aren't overlapping. So let's do what I did before. Let's go value, ds less size roles. Let's make my loop. Start at 0. Go less in size. Let's pull the value out of the list. ds list, find value from roles, grab me slot K. And now let's draw. Oh, I've already made a big mistake. I've done it in the D key. I'll move this to the draw event in a sec. Now what I want to do is I want to go draw text. And X position, I'm just going to put 100. Y position, I'm going to put 100 for now, and I'm going to draw out the string of the value. Now let me copy this to where this should have been in the first place, or cut this out. Take that D key out. This was all supposed to be in the draw event, and you know why, because draw commands only work in the draw event. And there we go. Now I forgot one bracket there. There we go. All right, let's test this, see what this does. So the draw event's always taking place. So right now it is drawing the list out here, but of course there's no list. So let's roll, R. And notice the draw event is working, and it's drawing all the numbers at the exact same location. Okay, I haven't added any code to make these draw going down. So let's just sneak that part in. So one thing you can do just before you start your list here, a good idea would have been to do that. And I'm going to go YP for Y position. And let's start our Y position at 50. Now I start going through the loop. I'm going to say the Y position of the text should be YP. And of course in the loop, YP is YP plus, let's do something small here, plus 20. So what I should get is YP keeps increasing every single number. So when it goes to draw it, this YP value will be getting bigger, and we should see the numbers make a nice line down the screen. Cross your fingers, let's give it a go, and roll. And those are my 20 numbers. Not bad. Roll again. And every time I roll, I can clear, roll, clear, roll. So it's nice, right? You actually get to see your stuff there. Nice. So that's the draw, and that's using a little bit from the last lesson there. How you can use the loop and move things around a bit by changing values inside of the loop. That's the end of that challenge. The next lesson is going to take a look now at doing some more sophisticated little tasks here, right? Rather than just filling the list and drawing it. We're going to do stuff like search and count and average and total and find the best values and stuff like that. So we'll see you in that video.